Hi there, and welcome to Spiritual Truths with your host, Kerry Marie. Today, I'm very excited to have with me a lady called Lynette Hill. Lynette is a naturopath and a homeopath, and she's been practicing for 13 years. She's also been a lecturer in her profession. She has a business in Browns Bay called My Remedy. In this podcast, you can learn a little bit more about naturopathy and homeopathy and how it can enhance your life and the well-being of your life and maybe others that you know. If you like this podcast, please like. And to help the podcast, please subscribe. We'd really appreciate that. Turn on notifications so you are notified about any other podcasts that are available. Blessings and love, Kerry Marie. Welcome, Lynette. It's really great to see you. I haven't met you before. I've heard about you, how awesome you are, but it's really great to meet you actually in person.
Thank you. It's nice to meet you too, and I've heard of you as well.
Oh, that's lovely. So my wonderful PA, Anne, she introduced me to you, and she said that she sees you and you're fantastic. And she said that you're a naturopath and a homeopath and have been a teacher, and I know you're still teaching. But if you'd like to just tell me a little bit about yourself, your background, that'd be great.
How far back do you want me to go?
Oh, just a little bit about why you became a naturopath.
Okay.
And,
Okay. Like most people, I fell into naturopathy as a result of a lot of life decisions.
Yeah. Yes.
So I basically was very much in the medical model till I was really till I had my first son, Chris.
And what sort of medical model?
Oh, go to the doctor, go to church,
Oh, I see.
do what you're told, don't think for yourself kind of model.
Yeah.
And then I had my first son, and we had quite a few difficulties with him. He was in a lot of pain, and we were having lots of trips to the doctors, and we weren't getting anywhere. So that was when a friend very bravely said to me to go to a chiropractor, and my Plunket nurse said that was witchcraft and I should not go. Yeah,
really? Wow.
Yeah. Just that lack of understanding. I don't know what it is, so it must be really bad. So I went, and
So you went anyway?
Yeah. Oh, he was 10 months old, and we were really desperate.
Yeah.
Young parents, and we'd gone from, this is fantastic to, don't want to get up today and do this mothering thing again. So it was quite a dark place. And we went to a wonderful chiropractor in Browns Bay, and he worked with his diet and his lifestyle, which was a lot of antibiotics by that point. So he cleaned him up and physically did some work with this wee baby. And that night, his hands, instead of being like this in his bed, were like that.
Wow.
And it was like something happened. So that sparked my interest. And then my husband had a chronic illness, and so I was like, off you go to this guy, he's amazing. And he got diet, lifestyle, homeopathy, chiropractic care, and he was able to have his operation and it be successful for the 8th time. It was
Wonderful.
like finally. And so I ended up actually working for this place. So I was their receptionist, and it was like, this is so cool, I love this medicine. I did notice that people were coming back and back and back, and getting natural medicine, and I thought, what's underneath that? So I was starting to think, I'd rather
something deeper.
Yeah, what's the cause? And then this is where I get a bit emotional. I got cancer diagnosis, and my dad had only just passed from cancer. So I went medical, and I had my tumours removed, radiation.
Yeah.
And at the point of chemo, it was just like, no, thank you. I've got to find out what else is causing my ill health. And so I went everywhere. I went to the chiropractor, naturopath, homeopath. I did stuff that I don't even know what it was, but I had to, go really deep and make massive changes in my life. And that was the point where I thought, I'm going to survive this, and I'm going to do this. So that was my journey.
It's really interesting because my last podcast I did about healing. And in that was about a friend of mine who had rectal cancer. And she took the holistic approach. And what she did was she did the medical route, which I'd never tell people not to.
Me neither.
Yeah, so she did the surgery that she needed. I think you'd enjoy that podcast.
Yeah, I've got a lot of podcasts to watch.
Yeah, but that one's at the question about her journey.
Yeah.
But we did a lot of healing on her as well. But she also went to a naturopath, self-meditation, and like the holistic approach.
Yes.
And I do believe in that. So you're just confirming that.
Yeah.
I think it's important, isn't it?
Yeah, and holism for me personally also does include the medical system where it's needed. I really have to state that
Yes.
it's not this or that. It can be this and that and everything else that you find.
100%. Yeah, I'm right on there with you. So that's, and it's really good too, because sometimes you find that GPs are open more to naturopathy or natural medicine now, aren't they?
Yeah,
not all of them, but
it's starting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's starting. There's a long way to go.
So what happened with your personal journey with your cancer in the end?
So in the end, well, here I am today, yay. But I started to look at really what made up health. So at some point, I'll show you my logo, but it's obviously the tree of life, because all naturopaths have it. Yeah, but my logo's got roots that are as large as the canopy of the tree. So I worked at the canopy, so where all the symptoms that you can see, like the apples, right, you can pick them.
Yes.
And some of those symptoms are good and some of them aren't so good. So I did all the pruning, all the dietary stuff I needed to do. I did Rife treatment, which is frequency treatment, which is incredible. And I changed my diet, and I took bucket loads of supplements and horrible tasting things. But what I didn't address was what was underneath, what was in my roots. And so some of that was my fears, the shutdownness of some of the experiences that we were talking before about, feeling an intuition and as a little girl and being told that you're making up stories. And so there was a lot of shutdownness in me. There was a birth story I was unaware of until I met somebody who helped me with that, which explained all my insecurity. I was incredibly insecure, so that's healed. But it wasn't until I realised that no amount of vitamin C and salvastrols and all the wonderful cancer herbs can actually address my self-worth, that I really started to heal. And that was when I discovered homeopathy.
Oh, wonderful. So it comes down to sort of like mind, body and soul, doesn't it?
I truly believe so. I think, I see, I work with amazing people, athletes, and the body is incredibly strong, and the diet is amazing, and it's protein powder and it's muscles, but if you haven't got your self-worth healed, you're never truly healthy.
Yes.
And your deepest experiences are going to shape your physical body eventually.
Amazing, isn't it?
You've got to listen. Yeah.
And your body talks to you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Because I have a nutritionist, and she said that I'm usual because my body talks to me.
Yeah, you're quite lucky.
Yeah, it does talk to me.
You're
It tells
listening
me.
as well.
I do listen.
Yeah. Picking up on the cues.
Oh, no, I can tell when I'm exhausted or I'm tired
Yeah.
And also I can find that if I'm grieved or upset, I can get quite sick.
Interesting.
And I found my son was really upset about, my other son was upset about a work situation. He was really devastated. And I went to the gym, I was really weak, and I just got really sick after that.
Yeah.
Because that grief just,
It's so deep, isn't it?
It was Louise Hay.
Yeah, I was just going to say to you, it's very Louise Hay of you.
Yeah, well, it's true though.
Yeah.
It's like you can heal your life.
Yes.
Yeah, it's amazing. So I just think it's really incredible too. I think it's lovely the way that you said to me, because some people don't like to admit it, that you said in my life is that self-esteem wasn't great. And you actually admit that, because people find it very hard to admit that, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. And I'd say, I mean, everyone's had a moment that they can relate to where they just haven't felt good enough.
Yeah. I think a lot of people feel not good enough a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I think that's really true. I'm just going to have a look here. So you became I'll just start off with the naturopathy before we go to the homeopathic. So are you still a naturopath now?
Yes.
And what do you do in a naturopath practice?
So in practice, naturopathy is more about the body.
Yes.
So we're really at the base of the therapeutic order. So we're at the bottom and emergency medicine's at the top.
Right.
Thank goodness it's there. What we're trying to do is keep people stable.
Yes.
And not sort of climbing the ladder to ill health. So as a naturopath, I will take a full case. It's usually 90 minutes. Sometimes it goes longer. And it's really looking at your diet, your lifestyle, what you put in your mouth, how you sleep, how you deal with stress, how often do you poo every day? It's pretty nosy stuff that we do. Headaches, nausea, fatigue, all of those things. So we look at all of that and we work back as far as we can go to go, well, the gut bloating might just be, well, you eat pizza every day. So maybe we could introduce and make friends with vegetables and improve your diet. So diet's really important, drinking your water. So it's the physical stuff going on.
Yes.
And then we might think, well, those headaches, that's probably a pretty toxic liver.
Yeah.
So we'll put some herbs in there or some detox support and clean up the liver and give some magnesium. So we're working with the physical body very much.
Yes.
And even though our principles and philosophy are that we're holistic and we look at the mind and the body and the spirit and the social life, and we do tend to focus on the diet, the lifestyle and nutrition.
I think it's great though, because I've seen a naturopath and I asked him about diet. And he said, I can't really advise you on that. So it's just more about giving me supplements. So what's your thoughts about diet and supplements?
Yeah, it's really sad to hear that because we can totally advise. We're not nutritionists, and I do see a lot of naturopaths kind of grab some other titles and it's like, no, I haven't done a degree in nutrition.
Yes.
I've done a degree in natural medicine.
Yes.
Totally different. But we know. So we know that whole foods are fantastic. We know that vegetables are really good, going in with plenty of veggies, some protein, a few carbs. Like, we know the basics of good health.
Yeah.
We certainly can look at their diet and go, well, really, there's an awful lot of sugar there.
Yes.
Or for someone with constipation, you're eating, glue, bread. So we can certainly look at the diet and make improvements. And there are certainly... there's so many nutrients in food. If I can get someone eating a decent diet, then they're not going to stay on supplements.
Yeah.
But I use supplements to be corrective.
Yeah.
So for a child, they may need a multivitamin to give them the strength to get over the bugs that they're constantly getting. So I use it as a support function, as a filler in of the gaps, but also I use it really specifically. So, with cancer, I'll do a lot of cleaning people up, nourishing them. And it's not always that they're going to live at the end of this, but their journey needs to be better.
Yes, you help them have a quality of life.
Yeah. And there's some fantastic, properties of mushrooms, which are immune modulating. So, you can be building an immune system up, you can be calming an autoimmune system down, you can be working with tolerance to food. So supplements do really specific roles, and they are our tools.
They really are.
They really are.
I know what you're saying. Understand what you mean by tools. Yeah.
But I would say it shouldn't just be supplements only, because that's really allopathic. That's the medical model of you've got this symptom, I'll give you this thing.
Yeah.
Whereas a naturopath, we should be going, let's clean up all this stuff, give you some support through supplementation, and then going forward, hopefully, diet, lifestyle, and maybe some B vitamins for stress. So
interrupt you.
That's all right.
So would you say that in New Zealand, for instance, because I was really low in magnesium at one point, and I do take supplements, but sometimes I've heard that our diet, it doesn't mean we can eat all the vegetables and all the lovely proteins and everything, and fibre in the world, but we're still lacking a little bit.
Definitely the soil's not providing what we need. And if you have an immaculate diet, you probably aren't going to need any supplementation at all. You're getting your fish in, you're getting your oils, you're getting your fibre. You've looked at everything. You're having mountains of vegetables. So absolutely. But also, I think what that doesn't take into account is the busy life that we lead. Like we need, I truly think we need B vitamins to help us with stress.
So much,
adaptogenic herbs to help with stress. I don't think diet for most people is enough on its own.
I love the thing, but I don't know much about herbs. Can you tell us about the herbs?
Herbs are, I'm actually recently in the last year, which has been a big change, which I'm sure we'll get to, I've gone back to my roots as a herbalist as well.
Wow.
And so herbs are fantastic in that they're in a lot of supplements dried, and they're very, very effective. I can see the results from the changes. But herbs are a really fantastic tool for a naturopath because we can bring in something for the liver, something for stress, something to help them sleep. We can make these disgusting tasting concoctions that do an awful lot. And energetically, I think they're really high.
Yeah.
You know, we get very quick, fast results with them. And so I use herbs to be a wee bit more corrective. And I use herbs so much for stress and sleep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That I'm going to talk to you later about that. Okay. So the other interesting thing about vitamin C. So for me, I had a precancerous condition years ago, and I went to a really good naturopath, and basically I had some surgery. And then, but it was a real wake-up call for me because I'd always been sort of quite healthy, but I sort of let it go. I was into stress and coping and not eating that well, and I can see how it happened.
Yeah.
And of course I got through it. And then not only that, there's a sort of virus that's attached to it, and the doctors can't quite believe it, but I got rid of it, the virus out of my system.
Fantastic.
Just through diet.
Yay.
And I think I had a lot of vitamin C. So also recently, before I went away, I went on a cruise, and I had some skin cancer on my face. And I'd been to the doctor, and I had it all booked in to have it removed. And then on the boat, it was a blessing. So everybody got sick, including my husband. So I overdosed on vitamin C. I got a sore stomach, but and I didn't get sick. So I went back to see the nurse to have the burnt off. It's disappeared, gone.
Wow.
Gone.
Fantastic.
And I knew, and I had the same experience with the father of my children years ago, giving him a lot of vitamin C, same thing happened. So isn't it amazing?
Yeah, well, it is a major antioxidant, but also, so I work also with HemoView, so that's looking down the microscope at blood.
Yeah.
And when you've got an infection or something going on, we have lots of neutrophils, and so they will rush around and try and find the disease and engulf it. And so when you've got an infection or something that's not quite right,
Yes.
you need massive doses of vitamin C to nourish, and I sort of see them as wee Pac-Man, to feed the wee Pac-Mans
So what are they
to go
called
and do
again?
the job. Neutrophils.
Neutrophils,
They're a white
wow.
blood cell.
Oh, wow.
But also just vitamin C is really good for regeneration as well. It's good for
Yes.
circulation. It's just an amazing immune feeder. So
Yeah, and so
maybe
I
that's
listened to the
what you need.
hairdresser, and she said to me, "Your hair's really healthy."
Yeah.
I thought, that's a vitamin C, I'm sure of it.
Yeah, so vitamin C is part of like the structure of the matrix, so of skin, hair, nails.
Of
So
course.
yeah. So it's
Oh, well,
quite important.
So it was so the people getting sick on the boat did me a favour.
But also there's intention as well, there's intentional healing. So I think all the vitamin C in the world is great, but I think you do also need to have that intention of healing.
Yeah.
I think that's massively important.
My intention for healing wasn't my skin, though.
No,
My intention for
it was
healing
just to be well.
And
Yeah.
not get sick on the boat,
Yeah.
and I didn't. And then, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
It was like, here we go again.
That
It's
shock
the
dose
second-
of vitamin C.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was, and I told Anne about it. She's tonight. So it's amazing. So interesting. When we were away, someone commented because my husband, I was talking to a naturopath, and he's got these some supplements. He's got a high stressful job, and they really disapproved of the supplements.
Who disapproved?
Someone that we were out with friends. And
right,
yeah. Anyway, and I said we're fine. We've been to a naturopath, so he sort of questioned that. So I think, so I've had your thoughts on supplements, but but I also met an anesthesiologist on the boat that said she looks so healthy, and she said I always take lots of supplements. So do you think you need supplements every day, or?
Some people do.
Yeah.
So again, it comes back to, it's actually the reason a lot of naturopaths get a bad rep. It's like, well, all you do is sell supplements, and I really don't like that.
Right.
Supplements for the sake of it are just expensive bottles on the shelf,
Yes.
which is also why I get frustrated that people can go into chemists and just stand there and choose their own.
Right.
And it's like, is that actually what you need? So So seeing a naturopath to me says you're probably, hopefully, on the right supplements, right? Because
Yes.
they've talked to you. So for most people, I think supplements wise, I think a good fish oil is a really good idea.
Yes.
It's good for the skin, the brain, inflammation, aging, so many processes. I think a multivitamin is nice if it's required. So your diet is this, your stress in your life is that, you're also an athlete, you're probably going to need extra
Yes.
nutrition. So a multivitamin's fantastic.
Right.
You know, all of us probably need more magnesium
Yes.
that we can get. It isn't
Yes.
that easy to get through the diet.
No, it's not.
And it just does so many functions, and as we get older we are needing more help with it. That's why we
Yes.
need more medication when we're older, because
Yes.
our body's not making what it needs.
Yeah.
So the same supplementally, it's like sometimes we need help. That's why it's a supplement.
Yeah.
It's supplementing, you know, our diet and our lifestyle
And what we need.
to be well.
It's interesting because years ago, around menopause, I got quite low and quite depressed.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what was wrong with me. And I also remember I had a sore back. And I ended up, we travelled and I bumped into my husband's cousin. And he'd had magnesium. And he said, because he said a sore back. And I said, can I have one?
Yeah.
Do you know, you're not going to believe this. The next day I felt amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm not a shopaholic, but I don't mind shopping. And next time I want to go shopping, you know. And it was like, and I just found out we're taking magnesium in our soil. So,
Yeah.
especially in New Zealand. So I thought that was just like amazing for me.
I think also you are obviously really sensitive, right?
Yeah.
So if you take a little bit of something good, like your vitamin C, you get like the mega result from it.
I do.
You know, and you take
Yeah.
some magnesium, you get the mega
I
result
do.
from it.
Yeah,
so
I
you
do.
only need a little bit, right?
Right, yeah.
But there's other people who might go and take some magnesium, go, oh, it didn't make any difference. You know,
Yes.
there's dose to consider. There's so many different magnesiums. There's
I know.
yeah,
There's so many.
And like, which one did you need? So
Yeah.
citrate is really nice for going to sleep, relaxing your muscles. Oratate's much more important for getting deeper into the bones and deeper into the tissues. It's like you've got magnesium and that's your mineral, but there are all these envelopes that we can put around it which make it have a different function, go to a different place. So a lot of people will have a supplement that's cut through with magnesium oxide, and all they'll do is end up sitting on the toilet and going, well, you know.
That, yes,
Yeah.
magnesium.
Yeah.
So what about cramps and things like that? Because
Cramps, so it's really interesting because, again, I go deep. So I never go, oh, you've got a cramp, you need magnesium.
Mm-hmm.
So as a naturopath, what I'll normally find out through the process is through looking at the Hemaview, I will see, hey, look, there's, you know, the cells are really sticky and they're not moving very fast, and, you know, why is there no charge? So it's like that's a need for minerals usually. But also look at the dry blood, where we just do an observation of the colour and condition of the blood, and we can see in that if it's pretty dark, and there's often big channels which are considered to be, and I'm really careful with my wording around it, mineral channels where the body's dumping magnesium. So if you've got a bit of a filthy liver, your body will dump magnesium to try and keep you alkaline. So that might be why you've got the cramp. So giving you a whole lot of magnesium is helping your symptom, but if we cleaned up your liver and you weren't dumping the magnesium, you may not need it as a supplement. Right. So it's working out why.
What it is. So Hemaview means that's studying the blood, obviously.
Looking at the blood, yeah.
Looking at the blood.
So it's hematology. It's you know, red blood cells, white blood cells, fibrin, platelets, you know, what's going on with them. It's not diagnostic.
Yeah.
So you can't say, you've got this.
Yeah.
And we don't do that. And if we do that, that's really naughty.
Yeah, yeah.
We shouldn't do that. But it just adds more information. You can see, oh, look, this person is so inflamed. Let's get them on fish oil. Like, let's not think about fish oil. Let's actually do it. Or put them on some turmeric, or
things like that.
Or look at their diet and say, that's a pretty inflammatory diet. Let's change it. So
So what about these? I went to naturopath that put me on these. They tested my fingers.
Oh yes.
And had a machine and measured my supplements. How do that? What's your thoughts about that?
So I don't use it myself. I'm a bit of a think it through kind of girl, you know, like
logical,
and I use that intuition I was talking about,
logic and intuition,
back it up a little bit with a lot with science and with the Hemaview. So from my understanding, that's biofeedback. It's very similar. My son's a chiropractor, so that's quite fun working with him. And he does applied kinesiology,
Yes.
where you're testing through the energy of the body.
Yeah.
And basically that gives you a yes or a no, you're strong with this or not. So I think it's based on that, working through your frequencies and what frequencies are high or low, and that's how they choose a supplement. And it's really effective.
Yes.
It's just not the way I work.
It's okay. Yeah. I love kinesiology. I had I had a bit of issue with my oldest son, and long story, but I think I talked about it in my last podcast. I felt that I saw Jesus, and I was led to this doctor who led me to a kinesiologist, and it was amazing. I just felt it was a miracle.
Those little miracles are everywhere in life.
They are.
And I look back at things and I'm like, oh, duh, that's why that happened.
Oh, I got a visitation. It was amazing. It's in my book.
Yeah, that's so neat.
So, yes, I love kinesiology. So this actually sort of leading on to, because you talked about the energy and things like that, to me, that's because I touched on, I'm a I qualify as a massage therapist at one point. And we touched on homeopathy, and it was all about the vibration and energy. So if you can just tell us what led you to homeopathy and a bit more about that. Because people don't really understand it.
No, people say you're a naturopath, homeopath. It's the same thing, right?
No, it's not. It's completely different.
It's so different. So, okay, naturopathy, homeopathy. So with Chris, my eldest boy, who had all the pain and the medical stuff going on, I saw a sign. You know how it is. You're walking down the street, there's a homeopath sign. I'll go in there and see what's this. Yeah. But I don't care anymore because my baby's screaming. And so she did some kinesiology, and I had no idea what she was doing. She was testing and saying, oh, look, he needs calcium and magnesium. And I gave him these little sugar pills, and lo and behold, he stopped screaming. It was like,
wow, amazing.
Yeah, fantastic. That is not placebo, because he doesn't care. He doesn't know what I gave him.
Yeah.
And then I walked past Whitcoulls, and there was a book on homeopathy, and I'm like, okay, twice.
Yes.
And I picked it up, and I was just reading about just these different rocks that they use, and flowers like arnica. Most people have heard of arnica. It's a little flower that grows in the alpine regions, and you make a tea of it for when you've been hiking and your muscles are bruised and tired.
Yes.
Right? And the homeopathy is for bruised muscles.
Yes.
But also it goes deeper. So at 30C we use it for, I've got a bruise and it hurts, ouch.
Yeah.
At 200C it's more emotional, of like, that really hurt me and I can't let that thought go.
Yeah. Really?
And then at 1M, which is what we call constitutional, that's like, I'm so wounded, and I look through the lens of being wounded.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's get goosies when I think about it.
Wow.
So that was my first touch. And then I went to South Pacific College, where I ended up teaching, and the degree pathway changed and included homeopathy. And I was like, I'm in.
Yes.
And I thought it was just going to be, what do you give for a snotty nose? And what do you give? I sort of call it poos and spews and shits and squits, which is disgusting, but that's kind of the acute prescribing that I do. And my poor patients have to get used to me. But I found out that it was we were looking at the remedy. We were looking at it, say it's a tree. What would the properties of that tree be? And it might be, I feel very strong but very alone. You think of a remu in the forest. You're deeply rooted. You can't get away from anything, so you're really reactive. And I was like, wow, it's like truly looking at nature and going, what are the properties that I would see in that thing, that flower, that animal, that plant, and how does that match how I feel? So we delve really deeply with homeopathy into how you feel, how you think. And I personally use it for the underneath stuff. I've got no self-worth. And we'll just talk about their childhood, and that, maybe dad left at 7, and that's the age where your dad's really teaching you your values, and you're still looking for that value.
So you use it more for emotional.
Deeply emotional. Woolly thinking, like as an adult I know I'm good enough, but deeply inside I don't feel good enough. That was my story.
Wow.
So if I don't have someone to support me, I can't do it. No. Which was just not true.
So how does the homeopathy help that? I'm trying to understand
Homeopathy
it.
is the hardest thing in the world to explain. As a how it impacts person, it's like taking a plug out and saying, your life experiences up till this point have been healed because we've got deep enough in our consultation to understand what your problem really is.
Yeah.
My problem is that I don't feel worthy, and we find a remedy that has been, used for hundreds of years for I'm not judged worthy, and we'll give them a single dose, and they'll come back and say, I just don't care anymore.
Really?
Which is really cool. So it's very, very deep.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. And people also have to trust you, to be honest
They
about
have
that.
to totally trust, and I have to be totally honest as well. And I actually give my remedies. I don't sell them.
Oh, really?
Because everyone tells me, oh, you're a homeopath, you're just in it for the money. So I charge for my time, but I
Yes.
never charge for that remedy.
Oh, it's lovely.
Yeah.
What a lovely thing to do. So
It's
you don't
neat.
use it for the physical things, only for
I
emotional.
do. So I'm a naughty homeopath as well, in that traditionally it's one remedy at a time, but
Yeah.
I've actually made some little combinations in clinics. So I've made a wellness blend, which is
Right, yeah.
symptoms of sore throat, headache, and
Yeah.
chuck them all in together, and they're a really nice relief for someone who's coming down with a cold. And there are classic remedies like arnica and hypericum,
Yeah.
ruse tox, that are really beautiful for arthritic pain. So
Wow.
I'll often use them symptomatically.
Yes.
But when someone comes in and they come in to see the naturopath for their bloating, but their language immediately says, oh, I'm fat, I'm ugly, I feel this, I feel that. It's like, you know what? We're going down homeopathic route. We're going to actually find out who you are, what's hurting you, what's your
amazing.
posture for survival, and we'll find a remedy there.
That would help you with grief as well, like people who lost people,
Yeah.
like grief.
There's a beautiful remedy for grief. Again, we've got little vials of it and we give it away. And
Really?
I'm constantly replacing those vials because most people who come in pain, there's a wee grief story behind it. So we give that Ignatia to them.
Ignatia. And what about people that have had like heartbreak?
Heartbreak's really interesting. I was just at the conference last weekend, and there's so many remedies. So it's what's your remedy,
Right,
you know?
okay.
So your heartbreak may be that someone's just passed away now, but your ability to deal with that could have come from not feeling supported all your life, and this was the person that supported you, and that person's gone. So we'd look for a remedy that was all about support.
So what about romantic, like when marriages break up and that sort of thing? Because that's such a huge... I was talking to a friend and it's huge. I mean, I've been heartbroken and it didn't hit me in the heart, it hit me in my solar plexus, gutted, and it was just horrible.
Yeah. I mean,
I really suffered, and a lot of
we'd
people
always
do.
start with Ignatia for some,
Yeah,
Ignatia
yeah.
has the feeling of, there's a little poem, and if you email me, I'll send you the poem and the picture of Ignatia. It's a nut that if you ingested it, it's really poisonous. It's horrible. It would make you feel awful.
Yeah.
And you choke. So a lot of people, when they have grief, they'll say it's like, it's here.
Someone told me that recently.
Yeah.
It's exactly what they said. They feel they woke up in the middle of the night choking.
Choking, because there's just so much grief, and you have to push it down because it's dangerous to come out, or it's not acceptable, or you've got to go and go to work today.
Yeah.
So we give them a single dose of Ignatia, and they just feel that not let go in their throat, and it's not that they're not sad anymore, but they're letting it out. So homeopathy to me is like, just helps us release the bruising, because we've used the 30C and it just points the immune system to it. So it's more of a release. Yeah,
it's interesting.
It's very, very woo woo.
I know it is, because I remember, like they said to us, like with scarlet fever, you give poison ivy.
Yeah.
So
you're matching. It's about finding the most similar thing in nature to the symptom you have.
And what it is that apparently what I got taught was the weaker it was, the less there was of it, the more powerful it was.
Yeah.
Now, how does that work? Still a vibrational thing. We got told that.
It's less about vibration. It's more about water and the memory of water.
And the memory of water, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I love you. And again, I'm really sorry I don't remember her name. But a beautiful New Zealand woman who does the she freezes water and she puts
I've heard
memory
of it.
into it.
Yes.
That is the best thing to explain how homeopathy can be transferred in water.
Right.
So she's done you need to do a podcast with her.
Right, okay.
She's done experiments with 50 plus freezings that she'll do, and she'll put the water in a petri dish, and she will put the same word under it. So it might be love or hate or whatever it is.
Yeah, I've heard this.
Yeah, different languages, and it comes up with a hieroglyph, and they're all the same. And
Wow.
when they look at the hieroglyphs in ancient writings, they've got the same meaning. So that to me shows
the
that
blood freezes a certain way, doesn't it?
the water,
the blood.
yeah,
Sorry, the water.
that's okay.
Yeah,
but that shows me that there is a vast intelligence and an ability to hold on to things in water. If you can hold on to the memory of a word, can you hold on to the original arnica flower, for example?
But we're made up of a lot of water.
We're totally.
So if people are nasty to you,
yeah,
what's that doing to your body?
I hate to think. I really hate to think, because when
people say
someone...
sticks and stones don't break your bones, that names will never hurt me, but they do.
I'd take sticks and stones any day.
Right,
Because if someone says something to you, you feel totally physically sick. You get that bileless sort of feeling.
It's awful.
But homeopathy, someone said to me, so you just take a drop of a swimming pool and you put it in a bottle and that's homeopathy.
Yeah.
It's totally the opposite of it. So Hahnemann, who discovered homeopathy, was a doctor, and at the time they were using things like mercury for cancers. So they put a wee drop of mercury on, and it would totally get rid of the cancer.
Wow.
And the skin, and the cheek, and the bone, and you'd go slightly mad with it. So the medicine worked, got rid of the cancer, but it did an awful lot of other damage.
Wow.
So Hahnemann started taking a small amount and putting it into water, succussing it to mix it with the water, and diluting it by taking that water, putting it into the next bottle, succussing it, letting it mix with the water, then taking that. So you're diluting. You're not taking a drop of water from the sea and putting it in a bottle. You're taking it away from the source until it became safe to take. It didn't dissolve your skin, make you go mad. So that's how he discovered it, and he proved it by giving people who are otherwise well a single dose of whatever remedy it was.
Wow,
they were brave people.
Yeah, they were very brave people to do that. Yeah.
And then he would just record. Wow. So this is what they felt physically, mentally, deeply emotionally. These were the dreams.
Yeah.
And that's how the Materia Medica was created. So we looked at reducing things to their smallest form, taking it. I've done it proving once. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And recording, and it was 100 people recording the same kind of symptoms. So that's how we've made it. I think one day science is going to prove our magic, and it's going to be through the quantum physics theories. Yeah.
Quantum physics, quantum theory. Yeah. I love that as well. Well, I'm certainly a believer in homeopathy and that it works. And I feel like it's quite a complicated, complex.
It's very complicated.
Medicine and treatment and therapy. And I also feel like it's sort of like a bit spiritually inspired as well.
I definitely think it is. And because holistic health, we don't understand it. We, like I say, we do the diet, we do a little bit of the counselling, a little bit of the emotion, but we haven't really, you, I think, have worked out how to get in and heal the spirit, but it's got to be recognised more. And I think homeopathy gets there, but we still maybe don't understand its mechanism.
Yes and no, because I feel also, like with healing as well, is that people have to want to heal. They're part of it. They're part of the mix. So
Yes.
So if they, I find with a reading as well. So if someone's completely closed off, it's a lot harder, and it's a lot harder with someone who's really completely closed off to a healing. So they have to be, they're part of it.
Yeah. I have had to say to a couple of people that, this is I'm probably not the right person for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we are a partnership. I'm not going to tell you what to do. We're going to work this out together. And if you're not prepared to do that work, then it's a big fat waste of money and time.
So I understand you've also been teaching as well.
Yeah.
So what are you doing in your teaching? You're still doing that?
No,
or?
I've just stopped. Typical naturopath was at burnout because I was also working. I taught at South Pacific College. I taught the Introduction to Natural Medicine, which was a bridging pathway.
Yes.
And I rewrote and taught the Principles and Philosophy of Natural Medicine, which is my passion. It's doctor is teacher, it's, nature is medicine, it's all of those principles. It's looking at the Te Wharatapawha system of health, which is the walls, the roof, looking at that holistic picture. So I loved that. Then I taught the business paper, so running a clinical practice, because you can be a phenomenal naturopath or homeopath, but you actually have to be able to also run a business so that you can keep providing that service for other people. And I've had up to 7 people working for me, which has been really, really neat in the past. And then I think 5 years I've been a clinical supervisor, so that's the 3rd year students where you're doing that final working with patients and getting them out. And now I just work in a mentorship role with graduates.
Right. So you've got your own practice as well, obviously. Where were you based?
I'm in Browns Bay now. My Remedy. So what's
my
remedy?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But I actually work with my son. We both got flooded last year, and I was like, that's it, I give up. I'm not going to be a naturopath, I'm just going to be a teacher. But the upshot was we built a massive clinic together. So we've got Ascent Chiropractic and My Remedy, where we've got the chiropractic, the kinesiology, the naturopathy, the homeopathy, and hypnotherapy all in the same space. So
you're in Browns Bay, is that right?
Yeah.
And people can let's go to My Health. What, you got a website?
You can go to My Remedy, or you can go to Ascent Chiropractic, which is where I'm trying to push the people that way, because I'm sort of trying to slow down here, but there's the other people there that are also there to help.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm going to ask. This is called Spiritual Truths, this podcast series.
Okay.
So, if you don't mind me asking, what's your spiritual truth, Lynette?
So my spiritual truth is, I guess, that we all have an inner knowing, and I've always had it, and I may not know what it is, but to trust that really, really deep stuff. And whatever that is, and if you don't feel it or it's hurt, then that's what you need to be working on.
Yes.
So I think it's just looking outside the box, looking outside of labels, and just really looking inside to what your heart and soul is telling you.
Oh, how beautiful. And I'm really drawn to you and what you do. So so people can get hold of you. So if they came to you for consultation, how would you go about that to find out where to start with them?
I just ask them what they need.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Most people come to me with quite chronic illness.
Right.
They've been around the medical field for a long time.
Yes.
But I also actually work with a beautiful company called Ortex, which is a big company, and Chris is their chiropractor, and we work also with the Warriors. So it's quite exciting, that one.
Wow.
But I only get half an hour with some of them. So I can't do the 2-hour dive, Right. So it is what's going on with you, and then I work out, do we meet this through naturopathy? Do we meet this through hypnotherapy to literally change your mind?
Wow.
Do we do this through herbs? Do we do this through diet? So it's just working with the patient that's come in.
To find out,
Yeah. And if that patient's on a lot of medicine, they stay on their medicine. We're working with them where they are. We might be able to get underneath and make some changes, and then the medicine may change, but it's where they are right now, going as deep as we can.
Yes, so it's more chronic people. So I always believe that, it's both, because I believe prevention is better than cure.
Absolutely.
And I remember I spoke to a naturopath once, and they said to me, people spend more money on their health the last 6 months of their life than they do for their whole life.
And it's so sad. I went through a stage of working with cancer. You put your little story out there, and it's like suddenly I'm a cancer expert, and I am not a cancer expert, But people would come to me right at the end, and they were so sick, and I just have to say to them, I can't do for you what you need, but what I can do is I used to work homeopathically. What's going on? Where are your hurts? I haven't talked to my mum for years. I can't for all these reasons. We'd give a remedy that worked into the relationship with the mum, and they'd be able to have that conversation. So sometimes it's also about that good health is getting all of your ducks in a row. It may not actually mean you live, but I would far rather work at the and a gentleman that I saw yesterday is like, I'm pretty good. My wife just told me to come and see you. I'd rather work there. Because then we actually found out that it looked like she was going up the road of high cholesterol, and like, let's work on that now rather than wait till you have a heart attack and need a stent.
Exactly. So prevention's better than cure. So how... understand the chronic thing, people come and see when they're really desperate and they need something, like so when we go to a doctor. But how can somebody actually go to someone like yourself and just say, look, my health's pretty good, but I just want to have a better life, better quality of life?
Oh, it's really easy. You just ring and make an appointment.
Yeah. So would you advise that for people?
I really would.
That's what I mean, yeah.
I've got 2 interns who are just phenomenal. People will come in and they will take their case and look at their diet. They might ask for some blood tests.
Yeah.
And then they just make some really informed decisions on the information that they've got. And they're able to provide, just like you say, some magnesium, or do a liver detox, or look at their diet. And with everyone that comes back, they sit there and they're really, really nervous. It's like, my patients come back. And it's always, hey, I'm sleeping better. I'm dealing with stress. I'm responding to my children, not reacting to my children. So it's, just make that start. Whether it's a homeopath, if you feel more drawn to the, it's something in me that really I don't understand and I want to get that sorted out. I think homeopathy is beautiful for that. Where it's something deep inside that's holding you back.
I'm sure we've all got problems. We all have.
Yeah.
But some people people don't have to have anything wrong with them. They can just go for a checkup.
Absolutely. I think they should.
Yeah.
It's like you should have your doctor, your budget advisor, your lawyer, your naturopath, your chiropractor, your physical therapist.
So you go to the doctor once a year for a checkup, don't you? Or you get your Wonder Fitness on your car. It's the same thing.
Go and see your naturopath. How are you going?
So that's really good. So you can help with people that are already healthy. And what about people like younger people or children or adolescents and babies?
Babies.
Yeah.
So I don't see a lot of babies anymore because I've got Chris, who's my son, who's the chiropractor. So I send babies to him, and people are like, what would you do that for? But that was the beginning of our journey. So it's just lovely. He'll work from pregnancy right through newborn, right through to 80, and he will do either applied kinesiology, where he's testing through the baby to see, what's upsetting their wee tummy. It might be a wee physical adjustment. Their jaw might be tight from the birth. So, and then as they grow up, kinesiology is great, because if someone's getting a sore tummy, they can check and see if there's a little bug going on, give a homeopathic remedy. They could check and see if it's gluten that's the problem. Check and see if there's an emotional thing going on, and they might give a Bach flower for confidence. So,
So all ages. Anybody ages. For any reason.
Yeah, and naturopathy as well. There's no reason we can't give a wee bit of chamomile to a really restless child.
Right.
Yeah.
What about herbal teas and that sort of thing?
Herbal teas. I don't like herbal teas. I'm a weird naturopath, Although I found one now that's chocolate and mint. And it's like an after dinner mint and doesn't go on the hips. Herbal tea is a fantastic way of getting a small amount of therapeutic herbs every day. So one of my colleagues,
But you don't like it.
I just don't like the taste of it.
But you like it as a...
I love it as a medicine, but I don't like the taste of it. But it's a really good way of getting, some energy in the day, or looking after your liver, and it's very gentle.
Even the ones you get in the supermarket?
Some of them. Some of them. Yeah, some of them more than others. Yeah.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pull card. I got my Methodism split cards.
You know how nervous that makes me.
I know, because I think you're quite intuitive, as you told me, and you're probably scared about it or nervous. Yeah. But these were given to me, they were channeled to me.
Yeah.
And I started writing them down, and someone like Anne, I sent them to her, and I made it quite emotional. And I just knew that these are coming from a source, the right source.
And you feel good. So that leaves me unafraid, which is really nice.
So I picked a card for you. And the card I got's number 10. So 10's, to me, is quite a powerful number because it's like numerology goes from 1 to 9, and then 10's the next stage.
Right.
So it starts again, number 1.
Okay.
And what I've got for you, it's got, and I know that your father's passed, but I feel there's more coming from a grandmother.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah, because I felt her feel straight away coming
Yeah.
forward. I know that your father's there, but I think I just think she likes to stay neutral, I'm getting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm getting to know my grandma at the moment through my mum.
Yeah, and she's generally positive, but also says neutral. So she's not telling you what to do.
No.
But the message I got from her is no need to rush. Life's not a race. Take your time. Learn to pace. There's no law that you need to do more. Life is not always a test. Relax and unwind. Time to rest.
So if you spoke to any of my students from 2023, they would just be rolling on the floor laughing at the moment.
So you've got that card.
Yeah, I have just pushed and pushed and pushed and always been that one that will, it just needs to be done. Everyone needs to know about it. So I have to do that. And in my last role, I basically was working full time and building a clinic and running a clinic. And when I stopped it, I'm still working full time.
You're just exhausted.
So I'm totally exhausted and totally getting away from my intuition.
Yes.
And now that I'm resting, and I'm still recovering actually, but it's all coming out again. I'm using my herbs again. I'm just about going to present my acute homeopathy course. I'm back in who I am.
I just hear the words time to center yourself.
Yeah, and that's happening. And I've learned to say no.
Great.
And I have Wednesdays off. It's like, who is this
saying
person?
that no is amazing, isn't it?
It's so cool. And it's I'll say, look, thank you so much for that opportunity. Let me think about it.
The power of the pause.
Yeah.
I'm hearing the pause.
So good.
The power.
Yeah.
And also I'm just hearing the words as well that I feel you're going to write a book. So am I right with getting that intuition?
Yes. And it's not a book like a this is me and this is what I've learned, although maybe one day. It's actually a really helpful practical knowledge book on homeopathy coming from my learnings, because what I really want it to do is, and I've already written it, but I'm in the process of rewriting it, and it's giving people the power to be able to make health decisions with what they've got at home in their cupboards. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So well done you.
Because people think about the cost, don't they?
Yes. Yeah, it doesn't have to be. I mean,
wow.
Old wives' tales are awesome, right? They are what our grandmothers and our great-grandparents knew that helped. They might not have known why. So the old onion theory, if you cut an onion, you put it by the bed, and historically it's like, and all the evil vapors are pulled into the onion. No, it's the vapors of sulfur that lay down on the throat and stop you coughing. So it's really, really, really simple.
So these are things that people have in their own cupboard, their own home, they can use.
Yeah.
Oh, how amazing.
So it's really self-help.
Really, really wonderful.
Yeah.
Andre, would you mind getting my book? Just see, I'm just going to get my book as well. So I'm going to give you my cards.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and there's nothing scary about them.
Yeah.
And there's and there you just shows you how to work with them. But all you need to just pick one, really, basically.
Yeah.
And you can I say prayer over them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
it'd be like I used to do like morning readings.
Yeah, it's like that. That's all it is.
Yeah, so that's really lovely. Thank you.
Yeah, and also I'd like to give you my book, Breaking Free. So, I mean, I think that a lot of the churches do a lot of good, and religions help people. It gives them a sense of, I don't know, I guess community and belonging and all that sort of thing. And I was brought up strict Catholic, which is, I guess, it's given me a sense of spirituality. In fact, when we we went over to Europe recently, I was looking at all the old saints, and I remember I love the old saints and the martyrs, and I got fascinated as a child, so I was obviously a deep child, but also they, not all Catholics, but a lot of Catholics may not believe in what I do, but saying that, I went to see about 10 priests, and 9 out of 10 approved of it, and they said to me that, Kerry Marie, you have a special gift, it's a God-given gift, but don't think you're God.
Oh, that's just wonderful. Isn't that lovely? Yeah. I think that the church is wrapped up, like we are intuitive, and I think that is that God centre that we
Yeah.
have. And I really know and feel and believe and trust in that. I just got a bit lost with the religion
It's people's opinions.
Yeah. But if you just
And
get
their
back
fear.
to that.
And their fear.
Yeah.
So I talk about my journey, about
Awesome.
it's pretty personal, and a lot of people said they wouldn't know I'd be so open, and I nearly pulled it.
Yeah.
And I was in the gym, and then the song came on the radio, The Story of My Life.
Right.
So I knew I had to tell the story, and it wasn't. Some people thought it was therapeutic for me, but what it felt like more is to help other people.
Yes.
Because like
Yes.
you've told your story about your
Yeah.
cancer and about your son,
Yeah.
and it makes you human and relatable. So it's about how I broke free to be me, I guess.
That's fantastic.
And Andre, who's doing the podcast, he
Yep.
took that photo there.
It's a lovely photo.
Yeah, and I've got a couple of songs in there too, written by my brother. So yeah, you can have my book as well.
Thank you.
You're
That is
welcome.
lovely. I'm going to read that because I'm all inspired now and I'm not scared anymore.
Oh, wonderful!
Yeah,
Oh,
because
that's
it's really
fantastic.
scary,
Oh,
because
wow.
because I use intuition every day, and I don't know how to label it,
Yeah,
so it's just me.
I tried to walk away from it.
Yeah,
At one point, and it got stronger.
yeah.
It
Come
really
back.
got stronger. Yeah.
It's like a rubber band,
Oh,
isn't
well.
it?
I just want to say blessings and love.
Thank you, and to
Thank
you
you
as well.
so much, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you.